Namaskar. I, Dr. Rohit Singh, Librarian, Amrit University, Greater Noida, welcomes you all, the panelists and audience. Abhinandan, greetings from Amrit University, Greater Noida, for this talk on cultural representation. Before proceeding our program, first let me take the blessings from Goddess Saraswati by lighting the lamp. All are requested to join the hands for this lamp lighting ceremony. The Eugean Book Club welcomes you all on this author talk on cultural representation by Dr. Mahotsav Sinha. Now, I would like to thank our guiding light, torch bearer, and Eugean Book Club patron, Professor Dr. Gurinder Singh Sir. Professor Dr. Gurinder Singh, Vice Chancellor, MIT Universities, Director General, MIT Group of Institutions, and Vice Chairman, Global Foundation of Learning Excellence, has an extensive experience of more than 21 years in institutional building, teaching, consultancy, research, and industry. He is also a renowned scholar and academician in the area of international business. He holds the post degree from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, where he illustriously topped with 7 merits. He holds the distinction of being the youngest founder vice chancellor of MIT University for terms, the founder director general of MIT International Business School, and the founder CEO of Association of International Business School London. He has been instrumental in establishing various MIT campuses abroad, including at London, US, Singapore, Mauritius, and other parts of the world. To understand the dynamics of industry, Dr. Singh went on a sabbatical to industry for 1.5 years and spearheaded the indigenous and international strategic operations of a renowned industrial group. With a business strength of 20,000 crore rupees and the capacity of chief executive officer, he has spoken at various international forums, which includes prestigious $1 million round table conferences at institutions of repute. He has received more than 25 international and national awards and has graced a host of talk shows on various TV channels. He is a mesmerizing orator and has the rare ability of touching the human soul. He is internationally recognized as a known professor in the area of management and is known in the field of academics as an institutional builder, a writer, professor, distinguished academician, a top-class trainer, international business expert, and the champion of the hearts of the students. We would like to thank you, sir. Today, As a panelist, we have Dr. Mahotsav Sinha, author of Culture Your Presentation, DPS Publishing House. We also welcome to Mr. Anil Kumar Chaudhary, VP Personnel and Registrar, sir. Professor Jasbir Singh Jassi, Dean Academics, Brigadier H.S. Dhani, Dean Management and Administration. Welcome you, sir. Myself, Dr. Rohtas Singh, Librarian, Amity University, Greater Noida, and Dr. Chiranji Lal, Additional Librarian, Amity University, Greater Noida. Now let me read the profile of today's author, Dr. Mahotsav Sinha. Dr. Mahotsav Sinha is a and has been rendering his services as a trainer for CBSE and Navodaya Vidyalayas teachers and principals, Export Promotion Council of Handicrafts, Agripreneurs for Ministry of Agriculture, Police Training Academy, Railway Academy, All India Radio, Global Management Association. He is a visiting professor of Columbiana University, USA, University of Jerusalem, Singhania University, Jaipur, Chandigarh University, Mizoram University, etc. He is in editorial bodies of 8 international journals, as well as a bilingual author, and has to his credit 3 English poetry volumes and 1 of Hindi poetry. 8 scholars have completed their PhDs under his able supervision. He has translated 4 English poetry collections into Hindi and 2 Hindi poetry collections into English. He is a columnist for 2 Hindi newspapers, as well as a reviewer of Tata McGraw-Hill's, DPS Publishing House, and Himalaya Publications, New Delhi. He has, to his credit, 2 international patents, has written 32 books, and is a recipient of 25 awards, including the Best Citizen of India Award, Dove of Peace Award, Innovative Professor Award, Innovative Teacher Trainer Award, Best Professor Award, Distinguished International Writer Award, Editor Choice Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam International Educator Award, and many more. Presently, Dr. Sinha at Masnath University as Professor in English. We welcome you, sir. Sir, before handing over the session to you, we would like to know the journey of your book. Start it from your thought process, the print.
Well, I have been working with All India Radio, and I have presented on numerous occasions. I have been hosting various shows. I have acted in 2 telemovies as well, and I have directed various plays for All India Radio. So presentation is in my blood. I learned good number of things there at All India Radio, and whenever I host the programs, I have hosted the programs for many prominent singers like Sonu Nigam, Mika, Shan. So it is in my blood. I always feel like that I should be, in presentation area always. And the key source of inspiration for writing this book is my working with All India Radio and the things which I've done on the stage.
So now the session, hand over to you, please.
Thank you very much. Presentation is such a wonderful thing that I must say that everybody is earning his or her bread and butter through presentation. Some way or the other, you present yourself sometimes with your body language, sometimes with your words, sometimes with your tone, sometimes with your actions, and sometimes with your behavior and attitude. In this book, Culture, Your Presentation, I have tried to cover each and every segment related to presentation skill. Well, friends, for presentation, the most important thing which I believe is how you capture the audience, you attitude is very important. You must know that there are two types of attitude, I attitude and you attitude. And when we have I attitude, we focus on ourselves only. I have to say my things, whether people are getting me or not. That is I attitude. But when it comes to you attitude, considering the audiences, consider over the audiences. You need, as a presenter, you need to know what is their level of understanding, whether it is about proficiency of language or about anything else. There are so many considerations which one has to take for giving one's presentation. This is very important thing, the audience analysis. Whenever you get an opportunity to present yourself somewhere, you should always ask the organizer what kind of audience you are going to face. That is number one. Number two, what is going to be the mindset of the audience? What about the age group? Let me just give you an example. If I present myself in a very comical way, because presentation can be done in formal way, can be done in the informal way. You can afford to be comical in your approach. You can afford to be conversational in your approach. Suppose I present myself comically and some old aged people are sitting there, they are listening to me. Perhaps they will not, they will not like to listen to such a presentation, because they are highly experienced people and they want the things in flat manner. They don't want fun to be involved in the presentation. So it much depends on what kind of audience you are facing. If the audience has a religious bent of mind, you should give the examples from that particular area. Until and unless we analyze the audience well, we cannot justify our presentation. This is one thing and very important thing. The second thing is locale. Locale refers to physical environment. Physical environment matters the most. You are sweating a lot and you're giving your presentation. If you're sweating a lot and giving your presentation, you cannot be comfortable in that position. Or maybe the podium is not there, maybe the microphone is not there, you are addressing 1,000 people at a time. It's a huge hall, it's a huge auditorium, and you have not been given the facility of mic. How can you justify your presentation there? So physical setting is very, very important in presentation. Then the kind of material you are selecting. You see, when you present yourself, I train various teachers and professors, and I always tell them that whenever you guide the children for giving introduction, before they launch into the main drive, before they talk about the theme, the introduction part is very crucial. And we tend to sort of ignore that part. For example, let me just give you my interpretation of that. I always feel like whenever you are there trying to say something, or maybe you are delivering a speech, and when you start giving your introduction, you should start with thank you very much, because gratitude is the best attitude. Whenever you start your introduction, you say thank you very much for the opportunity, and after that you should tell your name. Then you can talk about your status. If the introducer is there, it's fine. Sir has introduced me, so I need not introduce myself. If I'm given an opportunity to introduce myself, I would like to start with my name. Then I would, of course, extend greetings to you. And thereafter, I'll talk about my status, what kind of position I hold. And thereafter, I would be, talking about the kind of presentation I'm going to make. And I will not simply say that I'm going to speak on presentation. I would also give the coverage of that. In the whole of my session, I would be talking about these things. I would say like this. Well, in this presentation of mine, I haven't done so because I was supposed to discuss that with you. That's why I didn't do like that. Anyway, then there must be certain rules for the audiences. You must fix certain rules for the audiences. Many students are here. I want to tell them that whenever they address themselves before their classmates, for example, some MBA classes going on, right? And all the students are sitting there. One student gets an opportunity to, say something on some topic, and he introduces himself like, my name is so and so, and I am doing MBA. Just imagine, everybody knows you, everybody knows your name, everybody knows that you are doing MBA. Then why to include these things in your introduction? So that means introduction is multifold. If you are giving presentation to the unknown, nobody knows you there, then you need to tell your name. Then you need to say that, yes, I am from so-and-so course, so-and-so program. It's fine. But if everybody knows you there, you shouldn't tell your name. You shouldn't talk about your program. Rather, you should include other things in your introduction. Other things like you should be more focused on the topic you are presenting. You should talk about the coverage of that. You should talk about the importance of that. You can start with a slogan. You can start with a quote. You can start with a personal reference. You can start with a short story. You can start with a share, maybe. Okay, so there are numerous ways to do so. These are the adjustments the presenter. One more thing, when you conclude, you should give the right signal to the audience that you are going to conclude. Sometimes what happens, you listen to some speaker and you feel like that it's better to listen to the conclusion. There are so many people in the audiences who have this bent of mind. They love to listen to the conclusion only. They don't want to listen to the whole presentation. So they wait for the conclusion. And what happens? You don't signal that. You don't say that I'm going to conclude my speech now. They are looking for that signal, but you are not giving that signal. Maybe if somebody is listening to you with attention, even then, conclusion is a sort of revision of what you have already done. So until and unless you signify that, you indicate that, people are not going to be aware of this fact that you are going to conclude your presentation. So conclusion is very important, like introduction is. The conclusion of conclusion should be worth remembering. The last statement which you speak should be of high weight. It should be thought-provoking. It could be a quote. It could be a line to remember. It could be anything worth remembering. Conclusion should be thought-provoking. So when you give the presentation, you do like this. Friends, I must say there are many orders of presentation, but I would talk about 3 orders of presentation here. 3 orders of presentation. Although there are many. In my book, I have covered all the orders of presentation, but here I'm talking about 3 orders of presentation. One is called deductive order. What is it? Deductive order is you are moving from general to particular. Let me give you an example. When you move on the stage, when you want to present yourself, just imagine, before you came on the stage, before you started speaking, there was some disturbance. Disturbance in what? Disturbance in shifting of the mindset. Somebody else was addressing, right? He went off the stage, then host started introducing yourself. You see, there is a lot of disturbance in the mindset. You were into some other flight. Now you're going to be in some other flight. You were listening to XYZ. Now you are going to listen to somebody else. So there is a shift in attention. And this shift in attention is to be addressed properly. How to do so? You start from general and then move to particular. For example, let me quote an example here. Suppose some professor is teaching, say, mathematics. Fine, mathematics. And after that session gets over, some teacher of life skills enters the class. And that professor starts his session straight away, starts talking about motivation and all. Suppose he has to deliver the session on motivation. You see, the children, the students were in scientific flight. They were in scientific flight when mathematics teacher, mathematics professor was going on with his session. Now the flight is different. Now it's not scientific flight, it's imaginative flight, because somebody is going to talk about imagination or maybe experiences of life. Then that professor needs to build the environment. That professor needs to give something in general. Let me put the things the other way. If I have to talk about environmental pollution as a presenter, I won't start with, I'm talking about the body of presentation. Introduction part is already covered. Now I'm on to the body part. So as far as the body part of the presentation is concerned, if I'm addressing on environmental pollution, I would not give the definition of environmental pollution in the beginning. No, not at all. Because this problem is very much related to life. What should I do? Instead of talking about environmental pollution straight away, I would perhaps be talking about solar system. I would perhaps count the planets of the solar system, and then I would talk about Earth, and then I would come on to the problems people are facing on this planet Earth. And amidst those problems, there is one problem, that is the problem of environmental pollution. And after that, I'll go on with the particular things. So in the meantime, I talk about solar system and the other things. Audiences will come in mood to board the flight. This is what is needed. This is called deductive order. But friends, if you are addressing on a highly technical topic, you cannot be general in the beginning. You have to be particular. In case you are addressing a thoroughly technical, in particular, to start with, these are two orders: deductive order and inductive order. Inductive order moves from particular to general. The third one is question to answer order. Let me ask some questions to you before I make any presentation. And when I ask questions to the audiences, they come in thinking zone. They start thinking, they start looking for the answers of those questions. And this is how I can gain their attention. I can attract them towards what I'm going to do. So friends, these are three orders. I've talked about three orders only. There are many. When you give the presentation with the podium, see, presentation with the podium and presentation without the podium. In my book also, I have covered these two chapters: presentation with the podium and presentation without podium. You see, when you give presentation with the podium, let me focus on that first. You have PowerPoint presentation also, and you are sitting right in front of the podium. Laptop is there, placed on it, and you are, showing certain slides to the audiences. What you're doing, instead of looking at the audiences, you are looking towards the slides, because the content part is there on the slides. So if you start looking at the slides, you won't be able to look at the audiences. The eye contact is lost. What should you do? When you go there in that hall where you have to give the presentation, much before you make the presentation, you make the survey of each and everything you are going to use. See how your podium is placed. Your podium should be placed in such a way that you are able to look at the slides as well as at the audience. Because the moment eye contact is lost, things become different. If you have good eye contact, you will have the audiences in your confidence. Proper eye contact is needed. If you are giving presentation without podium, I've seen various people, what they do, they move a lot when giving the presentation. I'm also in the habit of doing so. I move a lot when I give the presentation to the people, but your movement should be done in such a way that eye contact is not lost. There are people who are in the habit of, going at the backside of the hall, giving full attention to a particular person. When you do so, what about others? Earlier on, you were maintaining a good eye contact, but the moment you shift your attention to a particular person, things are gone. Things are really gone. If you are doing poetry, if you are doing shairi and all, it's okay. You can afford to do so in informal presentation. But formal presentation does not allow you this. While giving the formal presentation, you should maintain proper eye contact. See, poets, they have different tastes altogether. They put the people in imagination for long. So poets can afford to do so. But if you are giving formal presentation, technical presentation, eye contact holds the key. One more thing. In this book, presentation, culture your presentation, and in other books also, other books of mine, I have written about eye contact. What is eye contact? People generally say looking into eyes is proper eye contact. It's not. It is not. It is not proper eye contact. You see, looking into eyes has got two interpretations. Looking into means examining, and looking into means gazing also. Gazing or examining. It's not about examining or gazing. How can you maintain proper eye contact with the person you are talking or communicating? I'm just telling you. You should assume a triangle on the face of the person you are communicating. Just see me. This triangle starts from nose to forehead. Within this triangle, you have to look at. That's called proper eye contact. It's not looking into eyes, it's looking upon eyes. When you're facing the audience, you should assume the reverse V on your audience, reverse V. And you start looking at from one end to the other, and then from the other to the other, and then vice versa. That's how you should look at the audience. Friends, from the point you start making the movement while coming on the stage, you should start looking at the audience. I have seen Barack Obama sahab, how he moves on the stage. Fantastic way. He holds the attention of the audiences right from the very edge of the stage. And by the time he reaches the podium, magic is done. Magic is done. And then he gets on with his things. Is very, very crucial. So speaking with podium, okay, now let me focus on the biggest mistakes which one makes while giving presentation. The biggest mistake is if you are giving the presentation to the audiences and if you are not paying attention to the. So what should you do? You should always pay heed to the greetings. Nowadays, what people do, you see, if you are giving presentation, most of the times you are giving presentation in the morning time. So you say good morning. If you are giving presentation, most of the time in the evening, you are saying good evening. Good evening, friends. Good evening, all. But what happens when you give presentation online, especially when you are giving the session from India and people of other nations are listening to you. You are giving presentation in the morning time, and they are listening to you in the evening time. You are saying good morning here. They are listening to your good morning in the evening hours. Always pay attention to that. When you are giving presentation to the international audiences, don't have the risk of saying good morning, good evening. You say greetings from my side. That's it. Instead of saying good morning or good evening, you say greetings from my side. Greetings from my side is okay for any place, any time. So you can say greetings from my side. One more thing. You are giving a session, it's being recorded. Fine. The recording is to be heard in the evening. The presentation is done in the morning. In that case, you are wishing good morning there. Fine. And in the evening, your video is heard, listened to by some people. The wish is good morning, it should be good evening. This is one of the biggest blunders of presentation. When you end the presentation, the very end of the presentation should be with vote of thanks. Starting should be done with gratitude and ending should be with gratitude. Third thing, sometimes what happens, you want to say something, but you say something else. Maybe something different comes to your mind and you adjust that. You want to say something, you say something else. At that moment, you should not be panicking. You simply say, I was thinking something different. Be honest there. I was thinking something different, but something different came to my mind. I'm sorry for that. There is no harm in saying like this. And the winning presenters, what they do, they mold their presentation as per the statement they pass. Means that mistake becomes a blessing in disguise. It becomes a blessing in disguise. For example, I'm talking about research methodology. And while talking about the fundamentals of research, something different comes to my mind. Maybe I start talking about life. I pass some statement on life. It's altogether different. Talking about research is different. Talking about life is different. Then I can say that, friends, intentionally, I pass this statement. I pass this statement on life because life itself is a research. Life itself is a research. You see, in life, you do so many experiments. You follow many assumptions in life. One more thing. If you attach your presentation to the personal things, I'm reminded of something. Let me share that. Once my vice chancellor said, it was I think 3 o'clock, and he said, Dr. Sinha, Mr. So and so was supposed to come, but he couldn't come because of some reason, and now you have to address the students. I said, sir, what is the topic? He said, you have to speak on research methodology. You go and address the children. 3 p.m. Children are tired and they got the information that the resource person is not coming. Obviously, they didn't have that focus. They were not prepared to listen. They had this mindset that since resource person is not coming, they should leave the hall and nobody should be there to bother them. I went there. All the children said, sir, we don't want to listen to you. The resource person is not coming. It's better that we should go. I said, I'm not going to, give you the presentation here. I'm not going to give you the slideshow here. No, I'm not doing so. I have come here just to talk to you. Is that fine? I said, let me share something with you. They said, okay, sir. We share it, after that we will. I said, there was a boy who lost his dog. And then I kept mum for a few seconds. Then one of the students stood up and saying, sir, what happened then? He lost the dog. What happened then? I said, he started searching for it, but he couldn't find that dog. Okay, then what happens? I said, then after sometimes he again started searching, looking for that dog. And when he searched the dog for the second time, he not only searched the dog in those lanes in which he, visited first, he looked for dog in other lanes also. And then, what happened? He found that dog. They said, sir, what are you trying to say? I said, research is done in the same way. The topic is in existence, but we go over the topic with new dimensions. Just as that person did, he tried to search the dog, and he, searched the dog in different lanes, and ultimately he found the dog. This is how things are. You can be comical, you can cut jokes, you can go on with your shairi. There are a number of things you can relate to. You should be able to say your things in creative, critical, innovative way. Then people will be delighted to listen. And this is how everyone should do so. Start practicing it. Until and unless you practice these things, you can't really, think of giving knockout presentation. Knockout presentation can be given only when you have certain creative things with you. Creative things like I don't know I have that liberty or not, but I'm doing it. Once I was giving presentation in Hindi, and somebody asked me, sir, आप कहाँ रहते हैं? मेरा presentation था. I was supposed to present myself on life skills. And the moment I went on the stage, before the introducer introduces me, or he started presenting file, one of the participants asked this, sir, aap kahan rehte hain? He asked me this in Hindi. So maine jawab diya, main औकात mein rehta hu. All right, so I was talking about the biggest mistakes done in presentation. I said, when you are giving the presentation, I told you a few things before this interruption took place. And one more thing is there with this particular topic only. Never, ever, take the liberty of taking your audiences lightly. Because when you address people, there are people of different kinds sitting there. And language should be presented in such a way that everybody is able to understand you. It's about communication. It's not about giving yourself an impression that you are something. People generally say first impression is the last impression. But in case of presentation, I always say that first impression is not the last impression. It should be a lasting impression. If I'm not able to make the lasting impression on you, I'm not a presenter. People should remember me after I'm gone. Then only I'm a good presenter. If I'm able to give something different to you. I am something in the field of presentation. When you give the presentation, you should use the language with a lot of attention. Kind of words you are using. Words should be used as per the level of the audiences. What is the role of language in presentation? Friends, people generally say language is delivered. I don't say so. In my opinion, language is not delivered, language is offered. Because there is difference between delivering and offering. Just as we offer Jal to Lord Shiva, just as we offer namaz, language should be offered in same way, with same bent of mind, with same attitude. There should not be any kind of ego. The moment ego enters the presenter, things are gone from his hand. The full form of ego is aging God out. Never age God out when you are giving presentation. So language is of vital importance. Second thing, there should be positivity throughout. When you are giving presentation, you should talk positive. You should not talk negative. Even if you are talking about a negative thing, you should present it in such a way, it is negative, but presentation is done in positive. It is presented in such a manner that people accept it as a positive thing. So it's needed. When you are giving presentation, take care of all these things. And while giving the presentation, you should not overuse your hands and legs. I have already told you that movement to some limit is acceptable, but movement to a great limit is not acceptable. You are overusing your body language. That is not acceptable. Putting hands in pocket and delivering the session is not acceptable. It shows authoritative nature. People will not accept that. And when you are giving presentation, your voice modulation also matters the most. Every word has its music. It shouldn't be killed. Mind it. Words are the character of a language, and expressions are the soul of a language. Soul. You present your words. It's music. The music is not good. Pronunciation. How you are pronouncing the words you are using. How you are, picturizing the words. Sometimes you need to picturize the words. In Hindi, we say dur. That's wrong. If you are using the word dur in Hindi, dur, it's not dur, it's dur. Dur. The right expression is dur, not dur. Same way, when you say happy, you shouldn't say happy flatly. The happiness should be there.
Sorry to disturb you, sir. Time is
Yeah.
Time is a constraint, sir.
Sorry?
Conclude. Kindly conclude, sir. Time is a constraint.
I'm just concluding, sir. I'm discussing the biggest mistakes done in presentation. So these are a few things which people should take care of, and this topic demands certain questions from you. Presentation is not complete without Q&A session. No presentation is complete without Q&A session. So let's now focus on Q&A session. Sir, I have done your job.
Thank you, sir.
You were supposed to announce that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sinha, for your wonderful insights on your book, Culture Your Presentation. And it is truly sad that the books are never fading friends.
Yes.
And you gave us a wonderful friend as your book. It's a thought of process.
Sir.
So wonderful thing. Wonderfully written, wonderfully elaborated. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. My pleasure, sir.
So we have a question that what's your favorite part from the book?
Sorry, I couldn't hear it properly, sir.
What's your favorite part from the book?
Okay, favorite part from this book. See,
Yes.
my favorite part is there is a chapter, introductions and closings. That is something unique in my book. It's something unique. There are other unique things as well, like presenting with podium and without podium. But my favorite one is introductions and closings. I've given certain statements for introductions and certain statements for closings. So that is something unique in my.
Why? Again, a question. Why?
I tell you. See, people, when it comes to introduction, people generally use fixed format. My name is so-and-so. I'm from so-and-so place, right? Or I am holding such and such position, and I'm going to speak on such and such thing. That's it. This is the fixed pattern people use. But in my book, I have given various ways to introduce. Instead of telling your name, maybe you start with a quote. For example, in one of my presentations, when I was introducing myself, I started like, India is a place where you face all kind of weathers. Summer, winter, spring, all kind of weathers we face. And weather changes time to time in India, changes the law of nature. This weather teaches us, weather of India teaches us that we should be progressive in nature. And friends, my name is also the same, weather, Mahotsav. I introduce myself like this. So there are ways to introduce yourself. I've given various ways of introduction, how to introduce yourself. Sir.
Thanks again for giving us the value of gratitude.
Sir, my pleasure, sir.
Is there any question from the audience? If you wish to ask the question, you may write, please. If any question from anyone's side.
The question, I've written this statement also in my book. The question which is not asked by the audience is a stupid question, and the question which is asked is always an intelligent question.
Oh, great.
So audiences should not think that I'm going to ask a stupid question. Any expert will find logic in illogic. If I'm able to find logic in illogic, I'm a damn good presenter.
Oh, great. That's a learning process. And we are still learning.
Logic is in everything, sir. You can apply logic to anything.
Yes, correct.
Correct, definitely.
So intelligent questions.
Let me move to the further section. Now I would like to call upon to our Vice President and Personnel and Registrar, Sir, Shri Neel Kumar Chaudhary ji, for the vote of thanks, please. Sir, over to you, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rotas ji and Dr. Chiranjeev Lal ji, and today's our speaker, Mr. Sinha. I had a discussion also with Mr. Sinha before he came to this forum. So first of all, sir, I on behalf of this Amrit University Greater Noida campus, on behalf of our Group Vice Chancellor and Director General, Professor Dr. Gurinder Singh, on behalf of our Honorable Respected Founder President, sir, on behalf of our respected Honorable Respected Chancellor, sir, and on behalf of all the faculty, staff, students of this campus, I express my sincere gratitude to you that you have taken out your time and addressed to our faculty, staff, and students. Actually, the subject which is very, very important and very, very particular also, and it's a day-to-day affair. Topic itself is a very day-to-day subject, the culture your presentation, how you can culture your presentation. People do not understand that when you are making presentation, first thing is very important, that one of the most painful things in a presentation is listening to a presenter. If Mr. Sinha has talked for about an hour or so, he must be thinking that whether the people are listening to me or not. It's a very, very difficult task to make when the presentation is made, one very important thing comes into the mind. So if you have been able to make the people listen, that means you have succeeded. The focus on the audience is very important. When we are talking, he very rightly said that connect with your audience. If you don't connect with your audience, if you don't focus with your audience, then you will be just talking, nobody is listening. So very correct. Focused with your audience, whoever is there, and understand the audience. What is the level of audience? Suppose you have started giving lecture in a place where 100 the illiterate people are there. When you started reading Gita, Mahabharata, Sanskrit, they don't understand anything. But you start your talk with the story. If you say something like a story, any simple man will also like to listen to it. So it is all depend that what is the scenario, who is the audience, and in presence of audience, you are talking. So I think that Mr. Sinha has very rightly mentioned that audience is very important. Being ability to keep things simple. If you are making presentation, if you are started using the very jargon and the very hard core English or Hindi, nobody is going to listen to you. So you should be very simple. So you should be keep things simple, be honest and enthusiastic. If you want to become good speaker, you have to be actually very simple, honest. Whatever you want to say, you are saying from your heart. If you start reading the books, people will not listen to you. But if you start talking from your heart, people will start listening to you. This is all, I think that Mr. Sinha has touched very rightly. What he has said, I think that we all must learn it. Concentrate on your core message. If you are going to give your talk, you concentrate on your message. Smile, eye contact. If you are so serious about your talk, Mr. Sinha never became serious. He continued to be in a smiling mood. It shows that he is a good presenter. It shows that what he is saying, he was saying from his heart. So, dear friend, on today's talk was very excellent. One thing is also very important, that when you are going to talk, start strongly. When you are talking anything, your beginning should be your beginning is very crucial. If you have not been able to set the tone, you would continue to be nervous in this whole talk. So you have to set the tone, and then only you can start your talk. So these are some of the things are very, very important. Sir, we are sincerely grateful to you.
Thank you,
for
sir.
Sparing your time, being with us, talking to our people, giving them a very, very good, simple information which can be useful for any time, whenever you are, wherever you are, whether you are in the classroom, whether you are in the lecture room, whether you are somewhere else. whether you are talking anybody, every moment of the life, connect is very important. If you don't have eye connect, you are not able to convey your message. There are people who talk somewhere and see somewhere. He cannot connect with the people. So these are some of the things I think that is very, very important. And what he said, that relax, breathe, enjoy. Mr. Sinha has very clearly said, relax, breathe and enjoy. He was relaxing, he was enjoying, and he was taking the simple breath. I think that's what more you want to learn. If you want to learn, this is one of the best quality of anybody who wants to make presentation or wants to become successful teacher of the organization. So with these words, again, I, on my behalf, on behalf of all my colleagues, friends, students, faculty, convey my best respect and regards to you, Dr. Mr. Sinha. Sincerely thankful to Dr. Rotaji and Dr. Chiranji Lalji, who have started a very new culture in this organization. From last, I think the 2-3 months or more so, they have started a book club, and now this book club has getting matured one after another. The very important talks they are arranging, and our people are also taking a lot of benefit out of that. So I think that's the excellent work. Please continue, and whatever the best possible way we can get like person like Mr. Sinha. We will invite Mr. Sinha also whenever he is available, because our campus is almost now open. So whenever you get time, instead of online, we can have in the campus talk.
Sir, honor.
So I
It's
think
an honor for.
so that will be actually a kind of good training for our students also.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you, Chiranji Lalji. Thank you, Dr. Rotaji, and to all the audience,
Thank you, sir.
the friends who were there present in today's lecture series. Thank you.
And thank you all for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sinha, for being the part of book club right now.
Thank you.
And day
My
by
pleasure,
day,
sir.
it is
My honor, my pleasure.
day by day it is maturing under the guidance of our senior persons, right? For instance, Shri Nil K. Chaudhary ji, he is still guiding us as well.
That's great, sir.
Sir, I would like to add one more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Thanks also to the IT team, please.
Yeah, sure. IT team is always, without IT team, the Amity University could not have conducted more than 1,000 webinars. So IT team is the prime of our campus and the campus and the Amity University. Without their support, we are not able to do anything. So thank you very much to IT team all the times, every time. Even we forget, you consider that thanks is always for you.
Thank you, Lalitji.
I always say a full form of IT is important team.
Yes.
IT stands for important team.
Yeah, that's correct.
IT, important team, wonderful term.
Important team.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
IT is
you.
requested to close the session, please.
Thank you.